Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, this is going to be different. We're going to be talking about travel hacks, tips for Amazon sellers when they're going to events or wherever they're traveling around the world. I've talked to our guest, and I'm going to go completely off script here, but I've talked to our guest at events and just have been amazed at what he's able to do. So we're going to be talking about advice for Amazon sellers who might be going to their first event. We're going to be talking about strategies to keep your business running smoothly while traveling. And we're going to talk about some of our guests' favorite travel hacks. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right. Like I said, today is going to be one of those topics I can't wait to talk about. And that is travel hacks and tips for Amazon sellers. Our guest is the Director of Training and Chief Evangelist over at Helium 10. He helps hundreds of thousands of Amazon sellers, beginners to nine-figure sellers, achieve their business dreams. And today, he draws on his 20 years of experience to teach other people to succeed on Amazon. And I'm talking about, a buddy of mine. I don't know how many times he's been on the podcast, but he is what I would consider a regular, and that's Bradley Sutton. And we'll talk to Bradley in a second, but first let's have a word from our sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skill and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show. All right, so let's bring in Blunder Boy. Look at that. Look at your new studio.
Hello. Yes. Well,
It's getting better all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's we're really leveling up over here. It's about time. So, after 490 episodes, I thought it was time to upgrade a little bit.
499. Yeah,
Yes.
499.
Which means,
Because you know when the 500th episode is.
Well, I mean, I guess when we cancel an episode on Monday, does that mean that this is only 498?
Don't do that to me.
So we're having our 500th episode on Friday.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
You don't have to do that to me. So, that's this is, and I'm glad I see so many people on here. 500th coming up on Friday, and it's going to be big. I can't believe how much time and energy we've put into planning this. I can't believe it because you think it's a podcast. It's going to be a few hours more. Big deal. It's crazy. And especially one of the things, well, we've got tons of guests that are going to be either making a quick guest appearance or we have a panel going on. We've got some listeners that are coming on, but we also got the Wheel of Kelsey, and we're doing it 4 times. And I hope that's not the main reason why people would be listening, but we reached out to a bunch of our just past guests and some service providers to help us out. I don't know. Where are we at now with the total wheel?
I think we're pushing past 50K.
The one prize is $25,000 or $25,000 in prizes. That's one. I think we're closer to 75.
Yeah, probably 75 now because that was 35 before plus the 25. My math's not too good, so we're gonna say 75,000. And so it's gonna. There's a lot. There's gonna be several different giveaways too. There's gonna be the main giveaway, but we also have tickets to Titan Network events that are being given away. There's just a bunch of different events and things that are happening.
Howard Tye's Mastermind,
Tye's Mastermind.
That's $15,000. That's $15,000 by itself. So I'm in Howard's Mastermind, but to join Howard's Mastermind, so he's professor of Amazon, that's $15,000. and that includes his community, which is $4,000. So just that alone is a really great learning experience with all the experts that are in that mastermind. Not everybody can get into it.
So I should mention that to enter the giveaway, you need to sign up at this link here. This will give you the link for the show. You'll be entered into the giveaway, and then we also have a secondary giveaway area where you can enter multiple times. So I'm going to drop that as well too. But make sure you sign up here so you get the email when we're going live, and you should be all set. And then just one other thing, do you want to talk about traffic and conversions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Big Shot now.
Yeah, so I found out this week that I'm speaking at Traffic and Conversion. So that's always been one on my bucket list, And anyways, they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to speak, and I thought, wow, that's great. And the other thing about digital marketer is I've just been brought in as one of the facilitators over there. So I can't wait. I love digital marketer. I just went to their M3 conference and or event, or should I say meeting, and heard about it. So I can't wait to get my first course out there.
All right. Well, before we get to Bradley, just really quickly, I want to say hello to everyone. So Tripfret, Steve, Cool Hand 99, good to see you. Simon, Andy, Craig, good to see you. It's been a while. It looks like you've been pretty busy. Good to have you back. We got Twilight Action joining us, Marina, Amar. Wow, we got a lot. Chuck as well joining. So I've dropped the links to the signups. Go sign up if you haven't yet. It's happening Friday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Lots of panels, lots of guests, lots of craziness. Will it run smoothly? Probably not, but that's okay.
If you want bloopers, that's probably the show to watch.
We've got bloopers already lined up too, so it's
God. I don't even want to see that part. Okay, so I think that's it. Get out of here. All right, that was quick. Usually he says something cocky, but nope, not this time. All right, so if you do have any questions or comments, throw it over in the comments section. And now let's get to it. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show. Welcome, Mr. Sutton. How are you, sir?
Hello. You see, I'm wearing my Maldives shirt today. Just got back 12 hours ago from Maldives. So it's like right on topic here.
Okay, so I gotta ask you this. You're always in the Maldives. What is this with the Maldives?
Well, it became my favorite spot in the world, but I mean, the original, how I started going there, and I was just talking to Kelsey offline about it, this was my 6th time in the last 2 years or 2.5 years.
Wow.
But, we all know about the honeymoon period, that it's not an official Amazon term or anything like that, but it wasn't made by myself, but that's been out there for years. And then, I've always been obsessed with optimizing the Amazon launch strategy. So then I found like this way to like kind of get like a Maldives or a honeymoon period, like on steroids, like getting even better results out of it. And so then, I Googled like, all right, what is the most expensive honeymoon you could have? And then it was like number 1 was Maldives. And so I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I like travel hacking. I could stay at this ridiculous place for free. I'm going to fly over there and record episode 200 and then launch the Maldives honeymoon strategy. And then I'm going to start updating that strategy every 50 episodes. Now, I was doing it, 200, 250, 300, 350, etc. But then this year was the first time I skipped 450. So like I just recorded, excuse me, episode 500 over there. But yeah, I've been there 6 times, always giving updates to the Maldives honeymoon strategy.
That's crazy. And that's what we should have did. Kelsey, why can't we go and shoot for free in the Maldives? Anyway, I can't wait to talk today about all your travel hacks, because that is something I've talked to you about at events. And I mean, you're the master of it. You know how to put these things together. I'm really curious. Well, why don't we start off here? So right back to the beginning, a lot of Amazon sellers, especially at the beginning of their career or, getting involved, are don't want to go to events. It's expensive, especially if they're in Vegas or if they're outside of the country. What advice can you give to them? Let's start there.
So yeah, just events in general. It's I'm not sure if I talked about this on your show before, but I owe almost my entire Amazon career to attending an event just on a whim. Like before I was really into Amazon. I was working for a company for years that was doing stuff on Amazon, but I really didn't know anything. I was just kind of like the warehouse guy and logistics guy. But then after I left that company, I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Like they didn't really teach me what was going on in the back end of Amazon. So I didn't know much other than like, how to send stuff to FBA and how to ship FBM stuff. That was my role. So I was like, you know what? I heard a podcast, and somebody was advertising like this event in Chicago, Zon's Quad Live, I think it was called. It was like in 2016 or something like that.
Yep.
And I couldn't even really afford it, so I was just like out of a job. So I flew there, didn't have enough for a hotel, so I just, figured it was cheaper to get a $40 rental car, and I slept in my rental car for the 2 or 3 nights. I don't remember what it was. But it just changed my life. Like it just, I was like, wow, Amazon is incredible. I can't believe what I've been missing out on. There was connections I made there, people who to this day are in my network. Like it was my first like Amazon conference, and multiple people there now work for Helium 10 because
Mhm.
like through I started working for Helium 10 a few years later, and I was like, hey, you should come and work for us. And I originally met them there, and there's people to this day, who I have in my circle, who I met there. So yeah, anybody out there, like maybe don't go sleeping in rental cars and get ticketed for homelessness or whatever. But there's so many events. Like back in those days, there wasn't that many Amazon events.
No.
Like not at all. Like so it was kind of rare. But nowadays, you can, even on a meetup websites, there's local events. Start small. There's a lot of events that are regional and things like that. There's bigger events like Amazon Accelerator, Amazon Unbox. Those are cool too. But absolutely, I suggest to all Amazon, Walmart, whatever sellers out there, find a conference, big or small, attend it. You will not regret it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. When I was on the other side of the fence, so not in front of a camera, not doing content, but just running businesses, I decided that I was going to take the chance. And first of all, it was an amazing conference, which was in Mallorca, which is cool, but it was expensive. And dear Connie, please let me go. And so she said yes. But a week later was the Illuminati. And the Illuminati is now the Helium 10 Elite. And I met 3 guys there. Their names are Manny, Guy, and Kevin. And I hit it off with them. And also, like you said, every one of those people that I met, and I've probably met about 20 or 30 people that are part of my network right now that have just been able to help me either here or with my business, like with selling my products or brands, growing it. You can't say enough about it. So if you haven't gone, at least go to a meetup. Carlos Alvarez, he's got 16 meetups a month, and they're free. So anyways, there's a lot of people that just give and share back. Now let's talk about actually traveling around. How can you afford it? How can people get the most out of travel? Where do they even start?
So, well, for Amazon sellers, and now I think as of last week, if I'm not mistaken, Walmart sellers, you can charge your PPC to a credit card.
Yep.
It's not by default. By default, just it pulls out of your disbursement. And that doesn't do anybody any good. So, if you haven't done that, do that first. Switch it to a credit card. Now, not all credit cards give you points. So my 2 go-to, or I have 3 go-to cards. One is the Hilton American Express, and that's how I stay in the Maldives, because the property I stay in the Maldives is the cheapest rooms are $2,500 to $3,000 a night.
Jeez.
And the beauty about it is with Hilton American Express, I get like 2 free room vouchers per year, plus I get X number of points, and the vouchers, whether I'm staying at a Hilton Garden Inn in Hoboken for $40 a night, or Waldorf Astoria in the Maldives at $2,500 a night, it counts for the same. So obviously you're going to use it for the Waldorf or the Conrad is what are the two most expensive properties. So that's what I use a lot for PPC, and then sometimes I'll switch the PPC card to either the Chase Sapphire or the Chase Ink is a newer one that I haven't really had that long. But regardless, I suggest having a Chase Sapphire card because the portal there allows you to pay for flights with points, and it's not like an airline credit card. You know, a lot of people have United cards or American Airlines cards or things like that, but those points you can only use for like United flights, right? With the Chase Sapphire portal, it uses I don't know, like Expedia or Travelocity or something, where any flights there you can just pay with those points, whatever airline. So I switch my PPC back and forth between those two cards, and then so I use the Chase points, the Chase Ink and Chase Sapphire, to pay for like flights and rental cars and things like that. And then whenever I travel, that's not on Helium 10's dime, which Maldives is not on Helium 10's dime. I'm paying for that, myself. Then for the hotel part, I use the Hilton points.
Wow. Okay. So not all credit cards are created equal, right? So you're using the Hilton, which is great. That's smart. And you get those vouchers. I've been looking around for a new card. And one of the things you talked about PPC. So I was sitting at BDSS. So Kevin and I and Antonio Bindi were in the cigar lounge and we were just smoking away. It was probably 2 a.m, 3 a.m. And Antonio said that he had a way of, like, he doesn't spend anything on travel. He puts it all on an American Express Gold, not platinum, Gold card. And it gives him 3 times the points on his American Express Gold. So, okay, very good. He says that, I think he said he had 7 cards because he keeps maxing them out and he needs them for his, so he never pays. And I think that's really a great point, is that if you're spending PPC dollars, why not go and get the biggest bang for your buck?
Sure.
So American Express Gold is great. What ones would you suggest again?
The Chase Ink is another one that gets 3x points on PPC at least, and then the Chase Sapphire is what is Chase Sapphire Reserve or Chase Sapphire I forgot what the other one was called.
Yeah.
But the Chase Sapphire and Chase Ink and it works well since that's just who I bank with anyways, like for my savings and checking. But yeah, those are the best for points in my opinion as well.
All right. So Steve Fillion just got my attention. What is this? 10 times travel. It's a free course. Oh, it's a free course to maximize your points. Got it. I thought you were saying, Steve, there's a card that gives you 10 times the points. All right. Okay. That's good. I get it. I'm old. There is a site, Steve Simonson. So you know him. He's our friend. He was telling me that he told me about a great site. Unfortunately, I can't really use it in Canada, but if I am traveling out of Buffalo, I use this site. It's called, have you ever heard of this? Going.com. Oh my God. You got to, with the amount you travel, you got to check this out. So you can get a free account, which gives you regular economy seats, or if you're traveling business, you can, it's a small amount, but you can pay a little bit of money and it'll continually show you from whatever airport you want to make as your default. So me, it would be BUF, and it would tell me flights that are coming out that are extraordinarily cheap. Like if there's a huge discount, and it just keeps pumping flights into your inbox that are really cheap. And if you have different destinations you're looking for, it'll tell you. So if I've got a flight going out to Vegas, or if I'm going to wherever, it might be to Australia, it'll show you these flights. I'm talking, what was a flight that I just saw? I can't be accurate, but you're talking about flights like going over business class, first class, over to London, $1,200. Hey, that's not bad,
Business
you
class,
know.
yeah,
Business
that's
class.
one thing that's very near and dear to my heart. Like, I never thought I would be bougie and need that, but
Well, I'll tell you one
it
thing about business class. So, like, I talked to my accountant. This is for anybody who's making a profit. My accountant said, this goes back years ago. He said, "Why are you going economy?" And I said, "Because it's cheap." And he said, "Well, start spending the money. Like, go into business class. And it's a write-off. Go into business class." So, well, if you insist. So, now it's just always business class. I work smart though. So I work with 1 or 2 airlines throughout the year.
Mhm.
And like mine is Delta. I like Delta. And I just gather the points there. And this is if you fly a
That's
lot.
Sky Team, right?
Yeah, Sky Team. It's incredible the amount of they give you. For me, anyways, I got 8 regional flights, which is upgrades. So if I go into economy, they automatically bump me
Oh, yeah.
into premium comfort, and then all I have to do is watch if there's seats available in first class, you're bumped up right away. So if I'm not worried, if it's not a long flight, I'll do that for sure.
Yep.
And if it's a longer flight, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, I do the
So
same for United. It's a or Premier 1K. It's like the highest, and
yeah,
Rich Goldstein is the one who got me on to United. And you can, you get these things called plus points, and then you could, take the chance. What you do is you check the open seats when you're booking the flight, and then keep checking it.
yeah,
And then if there's a lot of open seats, you can, if you're a Premier 1K, it could almost be guaranteed that you're going to get an upgrade to business or first.
yeah.
But then, yeah, if you see the seats going a lot, you might want to just go ahead and pay for the upgrade. Now the problem with United is you can't, like, because of this, because they prioritize only their frequent flyers, you can't, like, pay at the airport. So that's one of my other strategies is if I'm flying one of the United partners, like just yesterday on my way back, everything was economy. It was Turkish Airlines, which is a Star
No,
Alliance
don't tell
member.
me about Turkish
So at
Airlines.
the airport, yeah, the economy in Turkish is terrible, by the way. Like, I had a really bad experience. But what you do is you take a chance, and then, like, if they have open seats at the airport, you can just upgrade for like $800 or $1,000. Whereas if you were to buy that business class, it would have been $4,000. But if they have open, but on United, you'll never be able to just, like, upgrade at the airport, because if they have open seats, just like you said, they would have given it to their alliance members. So that's another tip. But real quick before I forget, I almost forgot.
Yeah.
I was only gone in Maldives 2 days. I actually forgot my razor, and then when I got back, now me, I'm half Filipino, so it's hard for me to grow facial hair. I was looking at my calendar. I'm like, you know what? I'm joining Lunch with Norm. So in Norm's honor, this is about as much as my beard will grow here after like 5 days, because I don't grow much facial hair. But I'm gonna shave right after this call. But just for you, Norm. No, this is my 5
It's
days. No
driving you
shave.
crazy, right? It's itchy and
It's itchy. Yeah.
oh, that's great. I I have another trick up my sleeve, and I don't have anything to do with them, but people think I do because I talk about them all the time. And for anybody traveling, this has saved me so much money, not only on travel, but on business items. So I'm talking about the founder's card.
Yep.
Now, you've probably heard me, I like any time we're at a table, if we get on this subject, I'm talking founder's card. I've been a member of the founder's card probably for 4 or 5 years. Tim Jordan actually told me about it. And this is a card where you're going to pay a few $100 for it. I'm not sure, but I think it's 400 or 500 for the card. But if you're traveling, just to give you an example, so if you're going on Delta, you get 10% off. If you're going on, or if you're traveling and you're going to other hotels, you automatically go on Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott, you get boosted up to their gold status. And then if you stay 15 days, you get boosted to their platinum status.
Mhm.
So that's a no-brainer. Caesar, you get Caesar's rewards. I stayed at Paris, in their suite, 790 feet. So it's a pretty big room for 90 some odd dollars. They have these rooms with Caesar, and also one of the bonuses is when you sign up, you get to go to that Caesar buffet that costs $100, and that's free. But they have all sorts of these types of travel bonuses. Kevin
I use
and
them
I.
for all my rental cars.
Oh,
I
do
mean, I
you
have the
have it?
founder's card, so it always gives me a higher,
Yeah.
level of car, for cheaper price. I used it. That was what I used originally. I wasn't flying enough for to qualify for United Premier 1K,
Yep.
but they had like sometimes they'll have what these are called status challenges or something
Yeah.
like that where it's like, hey, you don't normally you need to get, like 50 flights to do this, but hey, if you can do like 20 flights by this date, we'll go ahead and give you, as a Founders Club member, the premier status. And so that was how I originally got the premier status too, with the Founders card.
Wow. It's incredible. I just stayed at a hotel. Well, I went to I went to Prosper Plus in New York
Mhm.
City last minute, and I had to book a hotel room. Went on, found a like a boutique style hotel that Founders Club had, and the regular room rate was 500 and some odd dollars a night. I got it for 239 all in, like everything in. And when I got there, I got upgraded right away. So these are all these little tricks that you can save.
Yep.
I know Kevin and I went on this cruise together with our wives last year, and we went to the Fairmont in Vancouver, and I did it on Founders. Kevin did it without Founders. He ended up paying $3,100, I think. I ended up paying $2,100. I was moved up to the top floor suite.
Wow, nice.
And I paid $1,000 less. So it's just a great card for travel. But it also just recently I added my new workspace, Google Workspace, 20% off. Get this. If you're using Stripe at all, it's worth getting the Founders card. I have the Elite Founders card, so it's a concierge service plus a few other things, but it made sense to upgrade. So I think it's $8.95. And with that, you get a Stripe account. With your Stripe account, you get $50,000 worth of transactions for free. That's $1,400 in savings right there. So if you're in e-commerce and you're using Stripe, and you don't have to be a new Stripe member, you can have you can add this to your regular Stripe account, then you get that as well. So these are some of the discount clubs that are out there that, like, that going could save anybody in the States a ton of cash. And same thing with Founders Card. And I don't know if you have, I'm sure you probably have some other cards or other clubs that you might know of.
So somebody mentioned it's not necessarily clubs, but with some of these credit cards, you'll get some things covered. Like, for example, Clear. That's like for
Yeah.
US travelers, super important to have Clear. It just like,
Oh my
it's
God.
literally saved me from missing flights
Yeah.
in the past. And then of course, others will pay for your TSA and or global entry. So like the TSA is great. Again, if you got like tons of electronic equipment, I bring my podcast stuff always on my carry-ons, and it's just a hassle to take off your shoes and then take everything out and put it in 17 different trays, and then go through and then have them stand in that line. So get a credit card that covers your TSA charge, which is like every 4 years. And then, but I would recommend going global entry, because that when you come into the country, yesterday when I came in from the Maldives, or actually the flight was from Istanbul, but I just like go through, I just put my face on this one thing and that's it. Like it takes literally 3 seconds, no line, and you walk, you just breeze right through. You don't have to show your passport, nothing. And so that's like an important thing. And actually, here's a quick story. It has nothing to do with travel hacking, but it just shows a global entry. So for the last few years, when I travel back out of the country and I'm with my family, my wife always gets taken to security. So we'll be all together, and then she'll get, like, taken away with, like, uniformed police usually, and then they put her in a room for, like, 20 minutes, and they never tell they just ask tons of questions, and it's been going on for years, and nobody would ever tell us what's going on. Finally, last year, we found out there's another couple out there with the same exact names as us and around the same birthdays, and I guess the wife would beat up the husband. And so the
Oh,
husband had a restraining order against the wife, right? So they're not supposed to be together. So then whenever we came into the country and it showed that we're on the same flight, they had to take her away because, I might have been a subject of abuse or something. And then for like once we knew what was happening, then we would tell them, like, guys, it's not us. Look at the date of birth. It's not exactly the same. It still wouldn't matter. It'd still be the same thing. It'd take like an hour to go
oh,
through. But then the last time they're like, hey, you know what? Why don't you, if everybody if your family has global entry, that might fix it. And so I always had global entry.
yeah.
So this time my whole family got global entry, and then we went to Japan a couple weeks ago, and this is the first time coming back into the country. We breezed right through. So in case you guys have some identity issues out there, global entry
Oh,
will also help solve that.
now global entry is only good coming into the US. It's not
Yes,
going out, right?
correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a bonus. And yes, all those lines. I just came in. I don't even know where I was. Oh, I was in North Carolina last weekend, and looking at the Toronto airport, there was nobody there. There was nobody walking down the hallway. I get around the corner to customs. It's one of the worst custom days ever, and probably 600 people. It
Wow.
showed up on the thing. It was 45-minute lineup. I have Nexus, so
Oh, nice.
I just walked up, looked at it. I was the only person in line, by the way. And so just walked right through. So these are some things. Global entry. If you don't have it, go and get it. If you don't have Nexus, so this is traveling back and forth between Canada, Mexico, United States. It is a lifesaver. I don't know. Kelsey will tell you, I don't like lines. I just fastest way I'm going through. And then TSA pre-registered. So, and that usually happens once you get Nexus, and you're bang on. So I chose the American Express Platinum card for this, and they will cover your clear. They
Mhm.
cover and they give you a discount. But because I chose Delta and I've got the status now, they cover it 100%. They American Express covers your Nexus card, which is great. That's, I think, $85, which, by the way, my wife and I have it, but whenever we're traveling with young Kelsey, we get stuck in a line because young Kelsey won't take the time to go for the interview.
Yep.
Ticks
Do they
me
pay
off.
for your priority pass? Do you have that too?
Yeah, oh yeah. So you get the priority pass, and they call it a Plaza Premium Plaza. That's another
That's a
group.
lifesaver when you're have long layovers and you don't
Oh,
want, I mean, these places are charging like 40, $60 now just for a couple of hours. I just went on my way to the Maldives. I had an 8-hour layover in Istanbul. Um, and I just had my priority pass, went to this beautiful lounge that had my private room in there. There's showers,
yeah.
a full buffet and everything. In almost any airport, even rinky-dink airports in the middle of nowhere, there's usually at least one lounge that's priority pass. And so even if you guys don't have a credit card that covers it, it's to me, if you're if a frequent a flyer, it's kind of a must to have.
Yeah, if you can't, let's say you don't have the card, I believe you can go in, but it costs you $40. Is that
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's well worth it. I know we got Andrew. That's Twilight Action. He's a pilot. Kind of, Andrew, have you got any travel tips for us? I know that's a good line. Try it for a living. Yeah, no way. But if you've got any travel tips for us, I'd love to hear from you. Or if anybody else, if you've got any comments, please throw them in, or questions, throw them into the comment section. Now, I can't believe it. We're already at the bottom of the hour. And at the bottom of the hour, we always talk about the Wheel of Kelsey. That is something at the top of the hour. That's a prize we give away at the end of every episode. So I see there's a bunch of people listening today, and if you're new to the episode, just stay tuned to the at the top of the hour, and we're going to do a prize called the Wheel of Kelsey. So Kelsey,
Yes,
did you do your job today?
we sure did. We got it all lined up.
Okay, I wasn't
Yep.
sure. I just, you didn't tell me. I got on late, by the way. So, Bradley, what's the prize today?
We've got a one-on-one call with me, 30-minute one-on-one call. And then on that call too, if you're interested, I'll also give you full contact. I'll connect you with my sourcing agent, the one who's handles everything for me, finding all the products for Project X, all my other Amazon accounts, and she handles shipping, inspections, and she's just like my boots on the ground over there in China. But I'll connect you with her.
Well, that's fantastic. So, a private one-on-one 30-minute call with Bradley and a connection to his sourcing agent. That's literally priceless. It's great. Okay, so all you have to do, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. And Kels, let's go to a sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram, and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you could build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit SureGoMarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show. I was talking about American Express Platinum, and some people go, "Oh, it's so expensive." It's $6.99, I think. I think that's what the cost is. But if you add up all these little perks that you get, it's why are you not getting it? And I'm talking about somebody that doesn't travel a lot or doesn't use credit cards a lot. I think for mine, when I got this, if I spent $3,000, so I spent $3,000 in the first 90 days, they were giving me $2,000 worth of points. It was crazy. So that's another thing to look for, is when you are looking at different credit cards, you could get travel points. And I've talked to somebody recently that all they're doing is they go to a credit card, they max it out, they get the points, go to the next one. And they've been able to do that quite successfully. They are digital nomads, so they got that system down. But even within a specific card, like let's say American Express, you've got the different ones to choose from. But even with the Platinum, you've got Delta Platinum, you've got all the different Platinums, and you want to check it out because they've got different benefits. So one of the other benefits with the Platinum is the Centurion Club. So you can go in, same thing as all these other clubs, but it's just nice if they don't have any of the other ones around. Or sometimes I find the Centurion Club maybe one step up above some of the others. And the other is audiobooks. So you get all these audiobooks for free. So that's always great to have. And there's just a ton, anywhere from Lyft credits, Walmart credits, like 200 here, 200 there, $200 back. So out of your $6.99 every year, you get a $200 credit from Delta, but you have to name your airline. So it's not specifically to Delta. So all these things add up. And if you look at the perks, you get thousands of dollars of perks for $6.99. And then you just use the card.
Yeah, it's worth it.
The other thing too, and I know I'm hogging this, but for me, I live in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I get an American Express Platinum, and the foreign exchange rate there's no added foreign exchange rate. So that's perfect. Saves me a lot of money.
Yeah, that's important for some of these credit cards. They'll just try and rip you, and the other thing that rips you is if you're trying to if you're trying to never use the currency exchange, guys. Don't change cash in there, and especially not in the airport. But the best thing to do is have also an ATM card if you absolutely need cash. I mean, most places nowadays they're all digital anyways, but if you're just going to a place that you want to use cash for whatever reason, have a card, an ATM card that doesn't have foreign transaction fees and that reimburses you for any ATM fee. Like I have a Chase, what I forgot what it's called. Not Premier, some kind of a private club, Chase account, but it reimburses all ATM fees, domestic and foreign, no foreign transaction fees. And if you make a withdrawal in a foreign transaction, that's actually the best currency exchange rate. So that's the other way you lose money is on the rate itself.
Yeah.
And so don't exchange in an airport. Use a ATM card to withdraw in that local currency when you get there. And that's the best way to go.
Yeah. And on that note, SIM cards. So whenever you travel, like we have a provider here in Canada called Rogers, and only $15 a day. Okay, that's $15 a day, and up to $50 or something, which is a lot better. I remember when I was traveling the States in Florida, I've got a $3,000 bill because I went over on my roaming charges, which I paid for, but it long story short, it ended, and I didn't know I was continuing to talk during the ending phase. So $3,300. And then after arguing forever with the company, I got another $2,000 bill the next month that was carried over. It was crazy. But nowadays, you can go and get a SIM card, and it's easy. You can pop it in. Everything's good. But I use Airbro, AIRBRO, I think it's called. And all it is electronic. You open it up. You can do it for the country. It costs dollars. It's so cheap. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have T-Mobile, and the beauty about T-Mobile is I can go in almost any country and have even like high speed, up to a certain amount of time. I can expand it, but then like let's say your phone is older, or you just want to have good Wi-Fi. Like a lot of countries like Japan, the thing you do if you go to Japan is to get what's called a pocket Wi-Fi. And, some of those are like $4 a day, but then you just get one of them. And then like you go with your family, or you have like 3 or 4 people with you. Everybody just goes off of the Wi-Fi. It works everywhere in trains and everything. And then you're at an Airbnb or something that doesn't have good Wi-Fi. You use that for your computer. It's unlimited, gigabytes and stuff. And so then, that's also a good way to go as well.
That is exactly what I was just going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. I just bought a travel router, so that when we go on a cruise, we're going on online sellers cruise, and we want to use that on the cruise ship. So we'll set it up.
I have never seen one that works on cruise ships. So that,
yes.
Hey guys, cruise ship Wi-Fi is the most expensive, worthless piece of garbage in the history of mankind. They'll charge you like $30 a day, and it's
for
like
each person.
2G speed.
Yeah, for each person.
Yeah, for each person.
So as long as you're in the room,
per device.
Per device. Yeah, you're right. So I bought it because of that, but also wherever you're traveling, even hotels, a lot of times the Wi-Fi can even suck there. And I just picked it up. I forget the name of it. But I could put it in the comment sections afterwards. But it's awesome. They can range. I went on not Temu, but I've got 2. I've got one that's just a little what do they call it? It's a stick, and you can put it into a USB port and it'll work. But then I've got a much better one. That's the one I just bought. The one I got from China, I think it was like under $20. That's with shipping. And the other one I picked up, much better, much stronger strength. It was under it was just around 120, something like that. But it's a better quality version. But just like you said, these are the little things that being able to pick up Wi-Fi, have a hotspot, have very little charges for a SIM card. These all add up when you're traveling.
Yeah. All right, a couple more. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's say like me. I would like business class for every flight, but I don't sell enough anymore to cover with my points. So I do use economy a lot. Anybody who follows my Instagram, I always do this like legroom check thing, and I have some bad ones. But so if you are doing economy, not all economies created equal, right?
Right.
So seatguru.com is what I use, where it has all the flights, a database of all the flights, and then all the airplane configurations, and then reviews on every seat. So then you check, all right, which one is the exit row, and then are there any issues with this exit row seat, and which ones can't recline and stuff. So if I'm gonna fly economy, I'll always run the flight through Seat Guru. So if I'm able to pick my seat, I can still get a good, sometimes the economy seat, like an exit row, is actually better than some business class. The business class that aren't lie flat,
Yeah.
the exit row seats actually have more leg room for tall people like us. So that's something Seat Guru I definitely like to use. And then something that doesn't really have to do with necessarily hacking, but whenever I always suggest to people, and this is what I do, is when you travel for business, is try and get some pleasure in there too. Like especially when you go to new countries or new cities that you haven't been to, is don't just go and stay in the hotel and just go to the conference and then that's it. I mean, maybe the conference is all day and all night, okay, well that's one thing. But if even if that's the case, go a day earlier or stay a day after. And then what I like to do is I go to TripAdvisor, and it's an app, and then I do the things to do sorted by traveler ranking. And then what it does is it gives me like the top, within a certain radius, like the top tourist spots or attractions in that city or that locale, out of like 1,000, and the top restaurants as well. That's for foreign. Now, if I'm domestic and I'm going to a new place like New Orleans or New York or something like that, I always look at the Yelp top 100. So you just Google that Yelp top 100 restaurants for, and then choose either last year or this year. Sometimes they always make them different, and then it's check if there's in the city that you're in, if there's any top 100 in the whole United States for that, literally out of all the restaurants, chances are there's at least one that's in that city you're in. And so it's always my goal to try and hit as many top 100 Yelp restaurants, uh, you know, uh, I can go to. But yeah, I found some really great places that I've ended up eating, later on too, because of that list.
Excursions. So do you have any advice for finding cheap excursions or getting discounts for excursions?
There's a couple that I use. So one of them I look at is definitely TripAdvisor. That talks about that they have like I'm going to Korea. I'm speaking at an event in Korea in a few weeks, and I'm going to do one of the excursions there to go to the North Korean border, where you can actually like step on North Korea for like a step and then come back
Really quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
But so there's TripAdvisor, and then another website that sometimes has deals on it is this website called Klook. I think like Klook, and like some of the excursions and things that I was gonna do in Japan when I went, it's actually cheaper to get it through Klook than it is to get it on TripAdvisor or to go direct to those companies. So yeah, those are what I like to do. But then if you're gonna do and sometimes the cruise excursion, sometimes they charge an arm and a leg, so you might be better off just like, all right, let me just get to the port and then book through Klook or through TripAdvisor. Might save some money sometimes if you don't have a lot of credit from your cruise.
Right. Yeah, I've always tried to find better excursion rates. Well, one thing I know, don't book them on a cruise. They will gouge you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you've got like, you got on one of these deals where you have $1,000 ship credit and they allow you to use your ship credit or something on it, then it's worth it. But yeah, those things are such ripoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and by rip-off, I'm talking 30 to 50% difference by booking it yourself.
Yeah.
So and one of the things that we do is we'll look at the excursions and then we'll see what they are, and then we'll just call the excursion directly.
Yeah.
That's the way around it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, last one on discounts. And I know what it used to be, but I don't even think it's around anymore. But that's for dining out, going out and finding a way to find some discounts for, with the cities that you're going to. Any thoughts?
I don't do anything as far as that goes anymore. Just make sure a lot of these credit cards we mentioned, sometimes they'll have these things where certain months of the year, certain kinds of restaurants, you get extra cash back from them, but you have to activate it. So that's something like if you have those Chase cards I mentioned,
Yeah.
it's not automatic. You actually have to go in there each quarter and then click to activate it. At American Express, you can add all the restaurants. Founders Club has discounts at restaurants too. But what I used to do back in the day, I'm probably aging myself here. It might be a thing. Do you remember those entertainment books?
Oh yeah, the entertainment guide.
Entertainment guide. Oh my goodness! Like I would have like 40 or 50 clipped from there. I haven't gotten one in like 10 years though. But that was my go-to discounts for restaurants back in the day. I wonder if they still if that's still around.
I don't. That would be an interesting thing to check out because I got away with so many really cheap dates that way.
There you go.
Yeah. Restaurants.com, and I don't even know if it exists anymore, but that was something that I used to use a long time ago. And they used to have really great discounts on food and different restaurants. But the other thing, where was it? I was just in Austin and North Carolina, basically the same time. One of the cities was having a special, like just a local special. If you go in, you could get a 3 or 4 course meal for $60 or something along those lines. And those are things that happen. So you can check that out and just see if the city itself is doing some sort of special. I know where I live up here in Northern Ontario, there's groups of restaurants that you can just go in and get about a 50% discount during different times of years.
Yeah, I need to do that more because I've been I try and not eat in like super fancy, Michelin always. And then again, if I'm looking up restaurants in TripAdvisor, there's like a filter I can use to, to kind of avoid some of the more expensive places. But then the other thing is just, this is old fashioned, but hey, with Facebook groups and everything else, wherever you're going to go there, like the Helium 10 members Facebook group has like, 70,000 people in there. You just say, hey, anybody have any local recommendations for, I'm going to Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm going there in a few weeks. I've never been to Hanoi, Vietnam, but I know there's a couple of Facebook groups where I have some people in my network that are from there. Ask them, hey, what's the, forget what's in TripAdvisor and stuff. What is the go-to spot for locals? Because like here I live in North San Diego County.
Mm-hmm.
You ask me what's a spot here. I guarantee it's not like high in Yelp or TripAdvisor, but I know some good local spots, that are not going to set you back. So just it goes back to what we said at the very, very beginning about networking with people. Build your network, and then like, oh wait a minute, I know somebody in Hanoi, Vietnam. I know somebody in Brussels, Belgium. Let me ask them where I should go. So some good old fashioned networking is sometimes the best way to go to find the best place to eat.
There you go. It's a 360 all the way back to networking.
There you go.
Before we get into some other questions from the listeners, let's just talk about, this is tough. I have to do this and this drives me crazy. You're always on the road, but running a business smoothly while you're traveling, how do you do it?
Yeah, so it's important. Like it's funny. Like there are some people when they travel, either for business or for pleasure, they want to disconnect completely from business. Like if people who we go to the Prosper show for a week or something, like, oh, I'm not going to check Slack in this because I'm just focused on the Prosper show. Or hey, I'm going to go to Maldives for a week. I'm just going to disconnect. There are other people like me who like I would have a nervous breakdown if I completely disconnect. Like I just need to somehow be at least in contact. So there's no right answer here, but you got to find what works for you. You know, if you're the kind of person who, hey, to enjoy myself on vacation, I have to just cut the cord. Well, that means before you go, you've got to have a good team in place that is, you know, and you're not one of those people who doesn't like to delegate, you know, that you can have people pick up the slack while you're gone, and then you can completely disconnect. If you're the kind of person like me who like to stay somewhat connected, we'll have a plan. We're like, all right, I'm just going to, you know, check Slack or something from this time of day, and then I still delegate, you know, the rest of the things. But this is one of those things where you just got to find out what works for you.
Yeah, and it's so important, especially if you're traveling into time zones that are, let's say, over in the Philippines. Actually, the Philippines is pretty easy. For me, it's 12 hours. So it's easy to offset. But if you're in China, that's tough. In Australia, coordinating with the team, you've got to have a plan that you can coordinate and talk. So what you described is great. Okay, before I get to the listeners' questions, I got to ask one story. Any crazy story that you can, just one.
From traveling?
Yeah.
Well, I gave one already, you know, about
I
my
know.
our plans with TSA, but let's see. Traveling, what is something crazy? I've got to think. I mean, there's been times where I actually have missed flights, you know, and that's like if anybody has out there has not missed a flight, that's like for whatever reason, it's like one of the most the most stressful things in the world. Like it shouldn't be, because it's like, all right, I'll just get on the next flight. You know,
Yeah.
you know, like they'll put you on there, but like for whatever reason, like it will definitely raise your um blood pressure. But yeah, I can't that having my family, you know, taken away in security is always probably the funniest one lately. It happened on one trip for me, and I went to Pakistan, which is again not normal for Americans to go to. And then I went to this city called Peshawar, which is even less. It's right next to Afghanistan, really less likely that Americans go to. And so when I went there, everything was cool. I went to Peshawar. I spoke at this event with AMZ One Step. I went to AMZ One Step founder Saddam's wedding, and then I spoke at an enablers event. And then coming back to the airport, I walk in the airport. This guy comes up to me in plain clothes, plain Pakistani clothes, and he's like, "Oh, Bradley, how's it going?" And I'm like, "What? How do you know my name?" And he's like, "Let me talk to you for a minute." I'm like, "Okay," and you know, he was like, "How was your trip here?" And this and that. And it turns out he was from Pakistani intelligence, and they had me monitored since I got there.
Oh,
Like he was like, "Hey, so you were picked up by Saqib from the airport." I was like, I thought he was talking about Saqib, who's the leader of enablers, who I did do the event with. I was like, no, it's not Saqib. You know, he wasn't he didn't pick me up. He's like, no, Saqib Awan. And it turns out he knew the name of the guy. His name was also Saqib from like facial recognition. And so they were tracking me around Pakistan there just to make sure
jeez.
I was like kind of like above board. But the guy was like totally cool. Like we ended up talking about Amazon. He brought me up to the lounge that they actually didn't have a priority pass lounge. So we're just chilling in there. I'm just chilling there with Pakistani intelligence and really nice guy. And then coming home, when I got to LA, I got pulled away by a plains clothes, but the guys who have guns on the side of their belt at LAX, and then they were like wanting to look at my phone. They were asking me questions like what I was doing in Pakistan and and like trying to like prove that I really did go to a wedding there, and it was crazy. So yeah, sometimes if you go to countries that, you know, maybe people of your nationality don't always go to, be on the lookout for some excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. When you come back. Okay. So now we got a bunch of questions. Kelsey.
All right, Bradley, are you good for time? I know you wanted to get out of here
Yeah,
at 1.
I got like 2 minutes more. I'll tell my next meeting that they got to wait.
Oh, shoot. I didn't know. I thought we
Okay.
had
No
till
worries.
1:30.
All right, so we got one question here specifically for Europe. So this one, hi Norm, Kelsey, and Bradley, insightful session as always. Anything specific for folks in Europe? I mean, discounts, cards, tips suitable for folks in Ireland and the rest of Europe. Thanks.
I don't have much, you know, obviously being American, I don't look too much, you know, into there, but a lot of the stuff that we were talking about absolutely applies. You know, maybe
Yeah.
it's not the same credit card, you know, that you guys have access to, but find the credit cards that you do. Those websites I talked about, you know, like Seat Guru and Founders Club and all these others, they definitely work. Another just quick tip, regardless of where you're in the world, sometimes use a VPN when you're looking at prices for so if you're in Europe and then you're trying to find a flight to the US, like try and get it from, like, change your VPN to the US or something, just to compare prices. And sometimes you might actually, from the same exact website, get cheaper pricing that way.
Yeah, Steve Simonson was telling me that when he goes back and forth from Canada, just do I go from Seattle or to Vancouver? He can save hundreds of dollars. Okay, so why don't we do the Wheel of Kelsey? Because I misread. I thought it said 1:30, but it was 1-on-1 and a 30-minute consult. All right, that's just me being old. You want to do that,
Okay,
Kelsey?
so yeah, Bradley, if you need to get going though, feel free to leave. We're just gonna do the Wheel of
Okay,
Kelsey.
yeah.
And
It was great to be on, and look forward to having you back soon. And congratulations on the 500 episodes, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Hey, Bradley, thanks a lot.
thanks,
Have a
Bradley.
good one, sir.
All right, we're gonna head over to a sponsor, and we'll be back with the Wheel of Kelsey.
This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show. By the way, Kels, I was just looking at some of these. Twilight Action said Seed Alerts app is also very good. I've never heard of that, but I'll check that out. And then Redbeard, yeah, your ears must have been burning. That's the one that I got, the GLAR 750. And I think it's called Slate. Anyways, that's the one that I travel around with. It's a bit better than the stick version that I have.
All right, and then I see Twilight Action also said the Revolut is great for cash overseas.
Revolut?
And
I've never heard of it.
Revolut. And
see.
from Neil, for the Canadians, we got a U.S. bank account with Loop in Canada, and we're excited because we're not losing a bunch of money on the exchange rate between Canadian and U.S. dollars. So I know we had Cato on a couple months ago. So if you're a Canadian, definitely check out Loop for more on that. And then tips from Twilight Action. I prefer to avoid planes and airports on my days off. I use Amex Platinum for lounge passes, which is a must, and also gives you free travel insurance.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah. So awesome. Thanks everyone for the different. Let me see. AMZ. I use Revolut as my standard bank account in the UK. Awesome. So thanks everyone for the tips. I think this was a really fun episode, but I know we've got the great giveaway today, so we can jump into that.
You know what we should do? We should do a travel horror story podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love today's episode, so I think, and it seemed like everyone else did too. So let us know in the comments if you want to hear the travel horror story podcast as well. But here we go. Here is the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay. Now, Kelsey's being unprofessional again. He's muted. Nobody can hear him. I can say anything. I've taken control. What should I say about Kelsey? Oh, I guess he got offended. This is just the ultimate spin. The wheel is just spinning. He's left me on my own here. I'm going to go into the fetal position. Look at Twilight. Who got that? Jan and Tata. All right. Congrats. That's a great prize. So that's a one-on-one with Bradley for 30 minutes. Plus, you get to talk to his sourcing agent. And I know I've talked to Bradley about this before, and he just loves this sourcing agent. So anyways, what a great deal. I I don't think Bradley's ever done anything like that. So enjoy. Okay, is the boy Blunder back? Nope, he's giving me the no, he's not. All right, everybody. So join us on Friday. It's the big one. We have got huge cash prizes, not cash prizes, but prizes like masterminds and apps and you name it, that if you're an Amazon seller, you can't live without. So there's all sorts of things. Plus, Kevin King also threw in a ticket to BDSS. I think it's worth about $7,000. There's just a bunch of everything. So join us on Friday, and that's going to be our 500th podcast anniversary. And we're going to have just a ton of fun. We're going to have bloopers. We're going to have guests, listeners, past guests that come on, panels. It's going to be 4 hours. I don't even think I can talk 4 hours. Kelsey will have to take over for me. And then, like I said, at the end of every podcast, we could not do this without you. Our community is awesome. If you're not part of the community, head over to our Facebook group at Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm, the eCommerce and FBA Collective. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.